Spoken Label.
He lurked in the shadows, waiting and hoping she wouldn't take a different route. This was her usual room. He knew that. He knew her.
Ghost of Me, the new book by Amanda Steele, can be found at Amazon, Kobo, Waterstones, and many, many other places. Hi guys, it's Andy N. Thanks today for downloading or streaming yet another episode of Spoken Label. As you may or may not be aware, Spoken Label was started in the beginning of 2006, and currently we have well over 150 sessions recorded since then. Although you can find it on various networks, the full archive is available for streaming and downloading at Spoken Label bandcamp.com. It is a free download or free stream in there, but obviously, if you feel like chucking me a few pennies that way, it'd be eternally grateful to help me keep this podcast going and keep improving my equipment, etc. Enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Spoken Label.
Hi guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house again today. Got a special treat today because I've got a dear friend of mine and Amanda's on the other line today, and I've known Steve here for we're probably better about what 5 years now. Steve, is it?
Yeah, about 5 years.
Yeah, I met Steve originally over at on the second night of a night in Stretford. We actually co-run now, so Stretford's always welcoming open mic literature night, speak easy, and I met Steve at the second one. And eventually we ended up taking it over with Amanda. So that's why it's a pleasure. Steve is a fantastic writer and he jumps around. He doesn't stick to one sort of set formula either. So that's why it's a pleasure with Steve. So Steve, you want to introduce yourself to everybody. Tell them who you are. And I know, were you originally born in the Stretford area?
No, I wasn't. I live in Stretford now. My name's Steve Smythe. I was born in Hume.
Right.
Yeah, at my nana's flat where the red bricks are. Those sort of 3-story red brick flats there that back onto near the Mancunian Way flyover near to home, the arts complex. So it's
Right, I didn't know that.
Just on the edge of the city centre. And then I grew up in Hume.
Oh, right, I did not. Because I come the other way around because I was born on. Do you know where Barton Road is in Stretford? Obviously, you know it. Yeah, I was born on, the first house I lived on was next to a place called the Chapel of Rest. Have you heard of that?
Okay.
It's straight up my road towards Lost Stop Circle around that way. So that's the first house I lived in. Around that, I grew up around there. And I moved to Denton, or the Guy Bridge, about 9 years ago. So I've got all my family down there. So when did you move to Stretford originally, Steve?
Well, I've been here for 6 years this month. April 2014. It's funny really because if you grew up in Hume, sort of when I was growing up in Hume, it was always seen to be a bit of a move up the social ladder if you moved to Stretford. So by my parents and by lots of people who were there. And when I used to go to church when I was little, sometimes the people who made a few bob who lived in Stretford would come to Hume, go to mass on a Sunday, and then they would get in the cars and then go back to Stretford, and there was always something slightly exotic about them.
Oh, right.
So now I'm in Stretford, and it's exotic. It's an exotic place to live.
It's fashionable, definitely very fashionable. So, but obviously, in relation to your writing, then. So I know. Obviously, I know you're writing all kinds of things. So when did you first start writing them? Was it when you were much younger then, or did it come later in life?
Well, I think I always liked English at school, probably like a lot of people who write, and I actually forgot that I did get shortlisted in a national competition when I was in the sixth form, which was run by Barclays Bank, and I also forget about that, and I tried to. I made a note of it before the podcast, and yeah, so my school got some books as a prize. Some of them Barclays Bank came and give me and give me some books with my name for the school library, but the school doesn't exist anymore, so I don't have the books.
Oh wow!
And then I worked as a cub reporter on local newspapers, and then I ended up working in public relations basically for many years, and worked for the town hall in Manchester and doing sort of propaganda on the rapes.
Yeah. So obviously you're used to telling fiction at that point, then, basically, weren't you?
Some good people as well there, you know, and I enjoyed sort of. I ended up doing blogs for directors and
Oh wow.
senior managers, and you know, so I'd be writing first person, be ghostwriting them basically, and obviously, you know, they'd have to get signed off or whatever. But there were some people in particular the women I enjoyed. I think they were more adventurous, if you like, in a bit less sort of conservative with a small C in what they actually were prepared to broadcast.
Yeah, of course, completely.
That's probably my last job working at the council.
Yeah, and obviously, like it's so obviously you've always been creative one way or another. So what did you really get into first? I know, obviously nowadays I know you from writing a lot of flash fiction more really. But when I first met you, say well, I can't believe it's 5 years ago. I remember you telling me you're on your second draft on a novel, weren't you? And you were quite a big poet back in those days. So obviously your writing has changed a lot over the years, hasn't it? Then really.
Yeah, well, the emphasis has definitely. I started to write a novel really as a form of sort of. It was either that or going in the pub because my marriage broke down at the end of 2012, and I ended up getting a flat in Hume because of my family had been shot. And yeah, so when I didn't have the kids, sort of, I was a family man, very much a family man, so I miss the kids a lot when I didn't have them. It was hard for them, of course, and you know, so I just got a little notebook and started to write, and I wrote, you know, sometimes it was cathartic, and I just wrote, and I wrote a novel, and you know, the trouble is when you write like that, you've got to be careful because people, when they write, it becomes almost like a memoir, and you've got to. What I learned to do was to write fiction, so that I think the more it was less about what actually happened and what, you know, more about a story that wasn't true, then, or not, it wasn't necessarily true, then it was a better read. But I did put it away in 2017 after about 4.5 years. And I went to do a master's in 2016, so I did put it away, and I think I do want to get it back out again.
Yeah, and what I remember from Speakeasy, and people wouldn't necessarily, unless you were there, you would have seen it. I remember you were in extracts of that one. It was a fantastic read. I look forward to someday, hopefully, seeing you read that one, definitely. So, and also like buying a copy as well. So, but then, like I said, it's your journey, obviously. Like when I first met you, you're more of a poet. So, what made you want to move into writing more flash fiction nowadays?
Well, I did write poetry, and the great thing about Manchester is that, you know, and I say this without sort of any hyperbole, is that it's arguably the capital of poetry in this country. You know, you've got the Manchester Writing School, which is the old man. Well, it's part of MMU or ManNet, as it's called, and you know, they do have world-class poets there. I mean, Carl M. Duffy is the course leader. There's Michael Sam Roberts. There's a whole range of people from all over the world who are drawn to Manchester, and there's a lot of free events and stuff as well. And I befriended some people on a writing group. I met a chap who was doing a master's in poetry, and he invited me along to a poetry group. And I sat down for 2 or 3 years with some extremely talented, award-winning, published poets, and I learned a lot from them, you know. And yeah, so and I ended up being a founder member of the Manchester Stanza Poetry Group as well. So I have a love of poetry. I mean, I read it often. I've got a decent collection of contemporary poetry, but I don't see myself as a poet as time went on. You know, I'm much more sort of lean towards prose. I think I'm stronger there.
Yeah, you're right. It's exceptional. So I love it, and obviously we have to be very careful when we touch this next part because then people know where you work nowadays and follow your Facebook wall. Obviously, before lockdown, your job, should we say, I used to come up with some priceless anecdotes all the time. We did of dialogue, things like that, and are they quite easy for you to write? Obviously, because I don't want to go into the topics of them.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I mean, you know, I work at a car park for a multinational organisation and an international organisation, and I mean, to be honest, though, it's just a situation. I mean, it's about people, and it's about friendship, and it's about the things that people do and say, and sometimes there are sort of parts of the job that are extremely tedious, really, and especially depending which car park station you're on. So if you're not on a gate, it's often busy, but you might be around the back and, you know, pointing, you know, finding empty days for people to park in. So it's not the most challenging job, but except to say if you are on a gate, it's different. The dynamic's different. You're dealing with people, whereas. But to alleviate the boredom, I just like to jot down things people say and put them into a little sketch. And I just I'll often upload them on Facebook, and I've developed sort of a bit of a following into the story. Obviously, now with the lockdown, that sort of source has dried up.
But if you're finding always a lot of you're always finding there's always because you sketch, you do a lot of sketching, you know your style. Like, I know your dad's quite a regular recurring character in some of your stories, isn't he? Because
I put my dad in now because I sort of just because of. I mean, he's the character in the novel was based on my dad, and he is quite dry, and so he's got he's funny enough, and a bit sharp as well. So he's 86 now, and he's doing well. So I did go out to see him. And, he tells me to stand. He just said he's got to put some tape outside his front door for me to stand behind. And God forbid if I don't bring him any packets of chicken noodle soup, because he's not happy then, even though he's got strong opinions about the Germans, it seems to me like no chicken noodle soup. I haven't the heart to tell him that's a German brand.
Good stuff. Now, obviously, it's only fair we should really talk about Speakeasy. So, obviously, like, me and you have been running Stretford Speakeasy now. What is it? 18 months now, isn't it? I seem to recall.
Well, not good. No, probably longer. Well, a good couple of years. I think we've been doing it now.
Yeah, it's gone really. Like it's was this? Have you ever run a night before Speakeasy? Have you? Or was this the first time you'd ever run a night like this?
It's the first time I've ever. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever run a night. A spoken word night, most definitely, yeah. As I say, I was one of the founder members and I was one of a team of three, like we are at Speakeasy. I was a team of three setting up the Manchester Stanza Group, which is called Real Life Poets, which is still going. It goes on. It's a workshop. So you bring your stuff along to get it critiqued, basically. And, feedback is an interesting thing because I did used to go to a Monday night group as well. It's a good group, don't get me wrong, but we went through a period where people were arguing. And I think if you go along, I think feedback is a difficult thing to give well and sometimes to accept as well. But I think there's an art to sort of giving and taking feedback really. And I was. But I did find that really helpful when I went along to the Monday night group. That was the first workshop I went along to, and I got some, there was the quality of the feedback would be better from some people, but that's just the nature of the group. Much more sort of, you've got to be careful. What you're going to workshops for. Are you going there to be told that you're a great writer? Or are you going there to improve?
Yeah, that's what I believe. When you go to a sort of feedback group like that, I go in there to try and improve all the time. So I think the best way to become a writer themselves is if you listen and then train, or then if you do the proper writer workshop, like obviously you coming to know what I've been running, and that's where you just give you a chance to experiment with bits and pieces and writing. So yeah, it's completely different side of things altogether.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you just listen, and you're the writer, you own the work. So if you don't agree with the feedback, you just stand people and move on, And more often than not, what people say, even if you don't even think at the time that it's been particularly, it's something you agree with, you might go away. You go away sometimes and think, actually, they were right, or actually, I can take that feedback and use it on another piece of work,
Yeah, completely. And also, like for the future of yourself, and where do you see your work going next? Then?
Well, I mean, at the moment, I'm taking the chance to, I live alone. So everybody's got different experiences and different situations with lockdown, But I think I'll always regret it if I look back and think I've not really taken the opportunity to sort of write more. I think I'm doing that. So there's some competitions. I've been much more organised this year. I've put the competition dates down, the deadlines. I want to be published, of course I do, and I want to, and I've actually recently been on a Common Press 6-month short story course, stories around about sort of 3,000 words, which is a different form for me. And I've really enjoyed it. I think I've produced some decent stuff out there. I've got some great feedback from the course tutors, very, very positive.
Brilliant.
And, I've just finished a 4,700 word story, which I hope to enter the BBC National Story Award. And I'm sort of trying to aim high, And so, I want to be like a lot of other writers. I want to be published, and I want to, and I'd like to get a play put on as well.
Yeah, you mentioned, I know we were talking about your play, weren't we? And obviously, with the lockdown in place, so that's going to delay it now. But is the play complete then, what you've been working on?
Oh, it's not complete. I'm writing a play that's set on the car park, basically. So
that's no surprise.
and it's obviously a different discipline than writing the short sketches. Because the short sketches are just a quick hit, where this is a story about, somebody called November 2, as in the phonetic alphabet.
Yeah, of course.
And how he ended up on how he ended up on the car park. That's his story. I envisioned it a little bit like something like Up Pompeii, where Frankie Howard sort of tries to tell a story and keeps getting interrupted. It's a bit like that in the story.
Oh, look forward to it. Look forward. I hope you stage your Steve, because I love Frankie Howard, and I think it would be your sense of humour. It would be well worth it.
I mean, I have talked to Lee Beckett down at the Moston, the Moston Miners Community Arts Centre. And he's really keen to he's been very, very supportive. He's really keen to sort of put something on, so I do want to put something on there. But as you say, I'll have to sort of run with that once the lockdowns lift or eased. But the big thing is just to write. The big thing is when you're a writer, is to write. Just to get in front of the screen and get it done, and then get it finished. And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. Great, good luck with it. Now, Steve, if people want to find out more about you, where is the best going?
About me?
Yeah, about you, as a writer, yeah.
I mean, just follow me on Facebook, to be honest. I mean, I put some stuff on there, and it tends to be popular because it is like short, yeah.
Yeah.
Where I haven't got a blog. I haven't got a website. I'm a bit, I know, you advise on a website, but I'm not saying it shouldn't do it. Maybe it's something that I will set up. But at the moment, it's just best on just look me up on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well, but I occasionally use that.
Yeah, it's always worth following you on Facebook, because like I say, you do put lots of really good dialogue pieces on Facebook, and they're always a pleasure to read. And anyone sees you have got a following on there, that's for sure. So yourself, so no, great stuff, Steve. So right, what we're going to do is, that's all my questions for today. We'll take a quick break, everybody. We'll split the conversation in half, and we'll let Steve get a few pieces ready to read for us in the second half. Is that all right for you, Steve?
Sounds good.
Right.
Yeah, great.
We'll finish off here then. So hang around, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Spoken, mate.
Hi, guys. Okay, I'm still here with Steve, and Steve's now going to do a selection of his works for us. Over to you, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. What I thought I'd do first was read some poetry. Fairly short poems, 2 or 3. These poems were published as part of the Manchester Buddhist Centre, a group of poets. It was a fundraiser for the centre itself, and it's a group that I'm still a member of, and we've actually got a Zoom event on Thursday, and it's a great collection. It's called Gazing at Gaia, and I had 2 pieces. I had 2 poems published in it, and the first one is called Spotlight, and I suppose I wrote it sort of inspired by going to see my son school play, and it was that sort of slightly awkward moment where my estranged ex was there as well, and you're never quite sure how to sort of navigate that first sort of school performance, really. So it was based on that, and it's called Spotlight. Caught your eye before the lights went out. Hesitant waves, not quite half smiles. Couldn't focus on the stage till our boy came on, silently stoking the ship's invisible fire with all his might. Applause died down. We stand apart in the aisle, look at the ground, then I'm grabbed around the legs, and we laugh at the sound of his voice. Head swiveling, he shines his spotlight on us.
Brilliant, Steve. It's what I love about your work is the brevity of it, because that's a very, very short piece. I mean, I'll just concentrate, and I thought there's more to come here, but it wasn't. I mean, you cut it off then perfectly. You cut people off in it, and he leaves them more to think about then. And I think that's really, really good writing. Great stuff, mate. Okay, what's your second piece, mate?
The second piece is called High Tide, and it's when I started to feel better, I think about things. Probably took me a couple of years really to stop feeling, angry and, all the things that people feel when a long relationship breaks up. And, you want to feel better, but you just can't seem to get there. And I remember being sitting on a bench near the beach, and this point came to a short point. It's called High Tide. Draw a line in the sand. One side, scribe those things you love about me. Down the other, those you don't. Take care of the one's blank column, which now goes on and on. It's closest to the breaking waves. And what remains from our heyday is not washed away. But I have got.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, there's a lot. That piece there, there's a weight behind the words in it. Right? You made every word count there. Brilliant. No, great stuff, mate. Seriously, so.
Thanks very much. Thanks. I'll just got one more poem, and it's I suppose it's inspired by women really who have sort of known, I've grown up with, and strong women really. And when I went back to live in Hume, there was a pub across the road, and I always used to think it was all about the women. They always used to sort of get dressed up and make an effort and always look good on a Sunday, and it was always a big day, Sunday lunchtime straight into the evening. And it's inspired by a painting called The Siren and Ulysses, which is the big painting hanging in Manchester Art Gallery. And the painting almost shows that the siren's waving to Ulysses, trying to get his attention. The big thing about the painting is that the other sirens are looking up at this particular siren, and you can see her almost besotted with her, they're in love with her. It's all about her, not about Ulysses. And this is called Karaoke Siren. The women on the rocks adore her, dressed like her, half naked, even in winter, necking pints of lager and cider in the beer garden. Whenever she lights up, the women clamour to be near her. Her chesty laughter, always infectious. She's a siren calling the shot. 4 tequila slammers and 5 sambucas. Every other Sunday, the landlord splashes out on karaoke. She knows the numbers. Hands high, armpits dripping. Swaying on sticky carpets, snipe perfume. Mingled, confused. Coveted by men, skulking in corners, nudging each other, claiming they had her, when all that she'd done was she'd tried to untie them, deserting to listen to the song of the siren. Swim to them, they're waiting to hold you. Go to them. One day, they will be grown up. But the men are plugged deaf, remain strapped to the mast, while the women swarm round, craning their necks to see her as they dance with each other, dreaming they could be her.
Brilliant. Very, very sublime, that, Steve. Excellent, mate, that one. So, did you say you're going to do some flash fiction pieces for today as well? Am I imagining things?
I've got 2 flash fiction pieces. What I thought I'd do was in 2017, I entered the Bridport Prize. It was the first competition I ever entered, really. I thought, well, aim high, and I got on the shortlist. I think it was about 1,400 entrants from 30 odd countries.
Wow.
This particular prestigious, I got on the shortlist, and there was a story called Misconnected, and yeah, I was a bit sort of, I got blown away really by it. It gave me a lot of encouragement, to sort of carry on. I thought if I can sort of, somebody's read that and it's touched them in a way that I thought they put it forward to get on the shortlist. I was particularly encouraged by it. I think equally, you can send something good that just doesn't get met, just doesn't make the cut, and you can send something in that you think is better, but it's down to the judges as well. But there are things that are commonly denominated in terms of writing, in terms of getting something. If something's good, then it will tend to get, somewhere. Yeah, so I thought I'd read this piece, and it's called Misconnection. I just need to find it. I'm sorry, it was here. Just talking on yourselves, I can see it. Misconnection. This calm acceptance only made things worse. I can't go on, she said. Even when you're here, you're always somewhere else. I didn't know that's how you felt. Why would you? You weren't looking. You looked then. Her hair was scraped back, her face taut. He missed his last train home, so she let him stay. He twisted and turned on the sofa, but lay still when he heard sobbing from her bedroom. His train wasn't until 10, but he rose at 6 and dressed in the greyness. He closed the front door quietly behind him. The train pulled up unexpectedly between Abergavenny and Hereford. He wasn't sure which country he was in. He squinted out the window into a timber merchant's yard. Pencil-like logs were stacked in neat triangular shapes, as if a child had done it. A muffled announcement came over the tannoy. After a while, the train restarted. He almost nodded off, but was startled by something rattling. It was a red uniformed woman pushing a refreshments trolley. Coffee, sir? Whiskey. She put a miniature bottle on a plastic beaker in front of him. He took out his wallet. A photograph fell from it face up onto the table. It was of him laughing, pushing a little girl on a swing. Ruby. She will be 18 in the new year. Anything else, sir? Sir? He shook his head and paid. He put the photograph back and necked the whiskey from the bottle. Sheep on the line, according to Mrs. Connection. People around him hurried. Others craned their necks to check departure boards, while he sat on a platform bench in the winter sunshine, looking at his hands.
Wow, yeah. That's really. I can see where you got the nomination for that, Steve. That's exceptional. That piece, really, really good.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate.
I can imagine your face. I can imagine your face has been that when you got the email come through saying you've had a nomination for it. You're thinking, oh my God, like that probably, weren't you? Wow.
I was actually in IKEA with a mate of mine, and I opened it, and I was supposed to be opening. I don't know why he asked me to come along because I don't really know anything about lamps.
You only got lamp that day for a different reason.
I wasn't much help to him, And then, so that was in 2017, and then in 2018, that's sort of Bridport Prize is actually for there's different categories. There's poetry and short stories, and it's massive. I think there's something like 6,000 people into the poetry competition. But the Bath Flash Fiction is just Flash Fiction. Although they do have a Flash Fiction in novella category, which is really where you get maybe the length of 20,000 words, maybe 15, 20,000 words of separate flash fiction stories that are linked together by a narrative arc, and that's novella in flash. It's something I'm interested in, but this was the flash fiction section, and I think it was about, I got on the shortlist about 800 people. I think there's a long list, they call it 50, there's 800 people. From 30 odd countries, 40 countries actually apply. So it's a popular competition, it's a popular and prestigious competition. So yeah, again, I was encouraged by getting on the long list for this. And this was, and I've been working on the car park for about 3 months when I wrote this, and it's interesting looking back. I've been there just over 2 years now. And looking back, it's the things that struck me really. Because I worked at the council, which I in terms of, in terms of the industrial relations setup, in terms of, your terms and conditions or whatever, they're very sort of quite sort of stable compared to when I worked, because I work as a casual worker, so it's, I get the work as and when. And it was based on a true conversation I had with somebody. And the story's called Leaving. I didn't know Echo 2 was involved, even though we'd worked together for nearly 6 months. They're facing sweating, he'd taken up his woolen beanie. I've got a new job, he said, squinting in the sunshine. Doing what? Deliveries for a chemist, dropping off prescriptions. Only 25 hours a week. That's enough at my age. Prescriptions, heart tablets, inhalers, Viagra, and that's just for me. I wanted to stay in Mrs. Early Morning cheeriness before shift. Mrs. Patience explaining the job to new starters. Miss him passing around his biscuits at food time. Miss him laughing at his own jokes. Instead, I said, so you're going to be a drug runner? He laughed. I'll use that one myself. When are you going? After shift. Today. He shrugged. Chemist wants me to start tomorrow. What did Alpha want say? She pulled her face, said she wanted notice. I said, I've never had a contract. Why go now? You've seen it for winter. I've had 7 winters here, and there'll always be another. He said, moving a traffic cone blocking the way into Echo 2 car park. A blue Saab entered. He put the cone back. Mind you, I'll miss the excitement. We were quiet for a moment. What did you used to do before working here? I asked. I was a joiner for the council since I was a kid. A joiner? Everybody here used to be something, I said, smiling. I took early retirement, had a leaving, do rumour packed. I jangled the keys. Better open up. I'll make you a farewell cuppa at break. No, I'm on earlies. I'll be well gone. Oh, okay. Bye then. So, he shielded his eyes with his hand, watching the blue Saab. Is that clown parking on the disabled bay?
Oh, yeah, I like that. Excellent one, that, Steve. It's a great way of finishing that statistical session off there. That's fantastic, mate. Really, really enjoyed that. So, hang around. I need a quick word of you off mic. But as I'll the imaginary mic, I should say. Thank you again today, Steve. It's been a pleasure, as always, my friend. So, this is
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Andy and signing out, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. See you all.
Spoken. Thanks again for listening to another session of the Spoken Label. Our full archive can be found over on Bandcamp at Spoken Label. That's one word. Spoken Label. Full stop. Bandcamp.com. And there is over 150 sessions there. So I'm sure that if you've enjoyed this session, there'll be something else there you can enjoy as well. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label.